Ich träume und die
So,
Welt.
to start off the interview, Tootlez, welcome to my stream. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation.
Thank you for having me.
So, all right, we'll start straight away because it's during the last hour of the stream, and it's a bit late in some countries. So, let me ask you the standard questions that I have for everybody. Where are you from?
I'm from Sweden,
Oh, really? I thought you were
northern Sweden.
I thought you were American, to be honest.
No.
All right. So, do you play both sides by any chance?
I have been playing both sides for the majority of the game, but ever since I joined Winter Solstice, I've been playing primarily just playing my Squig, so it's been mainly that guy for a long time now.
Yeah, I've stuck with my Engie as well. I don't know, just everything else doesn't feel right for some reason. So, your main class is the Squiggy, though, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I've had a few mains during the time, but I
did-
mostly stick around with Squig.
Did you play live?
I had a level 26 Magus on live, but that's about all I had on live. So
really?
I started RVR in this game back in tier 3. Actually, I started War.
Wow. Why do you prefer the Squiggy? I mean, why the Squiggy and not another class?
I mean, it's hard to say really. I just like the mobility of the class as well. I like the group utility it has, that it brings to the table, being a ranged or melee. It's very versatile.
Because you said mobility, I was going to ask you, because this is a goblin, right? Why not the Shami? He's also as mobile as that.
I think you have the same type of mobility on a chamois as well, but you're more locked into like saving the group, so it's a whole different type of mobility. Like, I just have to focus on myself, and having access to tactics like run away and auto detaunt, and even my own ability that gives me speed is very helpful.
Tell me, I fucking hate it.
So
I hate chasing things around. So what's the counterpart of the Squiggy though? Is it the White Lion or the Shadow Warrior?
anyone who's watched my stream or heard me talk knows my despise of white lions.
same way I despise like wheat cells, right?
Pretty much every elf class in the game I hate with a passion.
But I think your counterpart is the Shadow Warrior though. The mirror that we call.
The melee Shadow Warrior and like White Lions and even Brave Wizards, like some sort of burst class is usually a very good counter to a Squig, even as melee. Because you can't really deal with burst as well as you can
but
with others.
I'm saying the mirror class for you is the Shadow Warrior.
Oh, the mirror. Yeah. Yes, I would say Shadow Warrior.
So, have you ever played Shadow Warrior?
I have a level 40 Shadow Warrior, yeah.
Right, okay. So, since you have a level 40, it's actually very good that you do have it. And you have a level 40 Squig as well. Are they equal? I mean, I'm asking this question because, you know, there's always this big debate whether, you know, the mirrors are equal or better or whatever. But if you played both, do you think the balance somehow, or one of them is more powerful than the other?
I think at the end of the day, it really depends on what you want to do, right? And what your setup is and what you're trying to achieve. I think the class versus each other are pretty much with some minor changes, such as Shadow Warriors having slightly more melee damage single target, while I have access to big AoE damage, for instance, compared to single target for melee. For ranged, it's about the same. We have this, we have the pet though, and with the current scaling of the pet, like the damage can be slightly better on a Squig, but you also have mobility, which is a key part in Squig Herder.
There's a lot of chatter, to use this thing lately, that the Squigs are quite strong now. I mean, you mainly see armor Squigs running around, and people are requesting a nerf. I mean, people request a nerf for the Engie as well. Personally, playing an Engie, I don't think the Engie needs to be modified anyway right now. I think he's quite balanced. Do you think that the Squigs right now with the armor are too tough or too powerful, and maybe they needed to be tweaked a bit?
I don't necessarily think that they're too strong. You give up a great deal of single target damage, I would say, for access to the AoE damage. For instance, it's all about givings and takings away, right? It's I wouldn't say that they're in a pretty good place right now.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of
And
people play
they
them.
could be nerfed, mainly mobility wise. I would have changed.
Okay, so you do
Such
feel
as
there's
maybe
something. You do feel there's something that might need to be done to balance things out. I know you play a Squiggy, and it's difficult for someone to say, "Yeah, nerf my class." You know, my favorite class, or me
hmm
say nerf the NG. But I say like on the overall thing, even when I play the NG, it feels in the game it doesn't need something. Not better. I think the NG is where it should be right now. And there's some classes like that. For example, people say like the chosen needs to be buffed on the damage on the 200. That's why I'm asking you because people that play a class, and I've watched you stream, and I see how you play, and I fought you in the lakes as well. I think you're one of the best squig players we have, and usually those players spend a lot of time on the character. That's why I'm asking you this question. I haven't asked other people this question.
Sure.
Um, so okay, squiggies are where they are. Maybe they need a little bit on the mobility thing. Okay. Um, if you had to play another class as your main, now you play Destro. What class would you pick? Out of curiosity. You
I've always
Squig is not an option. Squig is not an option. What else would you
sure.
play?
I kind of wish I had like a high level marauder, to be honest. So that would probably be the class I would play if I did not have access to my squig.
Why?
I've always loved the aesthetics of the marauder, the gear setup, and the whole like switching stances. I think it offers great utility and
It does.
just looks very good. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the aesthetics. I'm really. I know people may not like what I'm going to say. I don't like the Destro aesthetics.
Okay.
I used to play. I was full Destro on live. I had a Squiggy and Witch Elf and a Zealot, but I never reached Zealot very high. I don't know. Somehow when I came to this, I kind of like Order too much. But you know what? I mean, I've seen a lot of Marauders play out there, and most of them play glass cannon version. Um, you mentioned the switching of the stances. They have like the DPS, the tanky, and the healing, if I'm not mistaken, where they can switch in combat. But do you think that the Marauders you see on your side, they're actually switching stances? Because I have the impression that they just like go with one. Do you get that feeling on your side?
I do not get that feeling at all. With the Marauders I play with switch a lot, but I'm more of a small scale player myself, and in order to perform the best you can do, you would have to switch between the stances to greatly affect your gameplay. If you're in a warband setting, I think a lot of Marauders would just stay in Monstro for the rel removing tactic and all that sorts of stuff, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people switch for sure. Yeah.
You said you're a small scale individual, so am I going to assume you prefer scenarios over RVR or small scale on open RVR?
It's very balanced actually. I do love myself some open RVR as well as scenarios, but I think it has to be an even fight in scenarios
Yeah.
in order for it to be the most fun that it can be. And that's obviously kind of hard with one side primarily killing the other side over and over, but having a great fight in a scenario is probably the best sort of feeling you can have playing this game, I think.
So on open RVR, you don't join warbands normal. You just have like your 6 man and your roam, right?
Generally, a small man solo or 6 man, yes.
Yeah, that's nice. That's what I try to do as well. And the funny thing is, most of the people I have interviewed so far, which is 13, you're the 14th, they all like small group PvP, whether it's scenario, it's 6 man on open RVR and all this. However, on the last interview with the last two, the latest with RG Macron and it's just Jono, they both said, like the 6v6 and the small scale scene in this server is like disappearing or is dead. That's the expressions they used. And how can it be? How can it be that the 6v6 is dead with inverted commas, and every single person I speak with, they all like small scale? Do you have an opinion on that? Because it seems weird to me. Everybody likes it, but it's dead.
I think it has to do with just catering to the player base, right? Whereas a lot of people just want to log off and have fun playing in a small band's scene, such as 6v6 or like competitive PvP, as you would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
it would be way more effort in putting something like that together, and a lot of people don't like fighting the same group over and over, because that's what it's come down to. Hence the word dead. It's
Oh,
usually one or two groups just going at it,
yeah,
and
okay.
it's just hard to bring new life into this scene with new players that hasn't experienced it, and they might feel like they're not good enough, or uh,
Now that you say, new players and experience it, I'm picking those two words if you like.
sure.
Um, I think that the event that RG Macron did, the last 6v6 tournament, which I think it could have gone a lot better if there was a bit more people and groups signing up. Um, I really thought that that event, because the first one I've seen, would have like inspired people to come back to the scene. The attendance of people watching the streams and being there was like 400 people. It was a lot of
Hmm.
people, and I thought, wow, it's a big impact. We're gonna have more six v6 tournaments coming up. We're gonna have more small scale stuff, but it just died out within a couple of days. I mean, what happened to those 400 people? I would have expected to see
Yeah,
it, but do you see it? Because I don't.
I can't say I see it now. Yeah, I think the event was a great chance for people to try out the scene, and I'm very sad that I didn't participate either very much. I think I did one of them, but it was mostly because of my guild and myself not being able to attend. So I got another hour or so watching. But I think it was a great thought, and I hope that it would it would have continued.
Do
But
you think
saying
if we do more, it might like within inverted commas, of course, wake up people to this scene that it's not dead, it's there, and maybe more people will join it.
I would hope so. I mean, what I would really like to see is not primarily set groups, because that's what's keeping a lot of people from doing it. I would like best case scenario, let's say, um, you have maybe 100 people, right? And you have team leaders choosing people, or setting up
Hmm.
setting up groups of random people together to fight within reasonable setups and everything. I think that would be the best
Like
case.
what you're
Kind of like
describing, it reminds me like a draft in a
a
card
draft
game.
pick, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like a draft. In a sense, like that would be probably the best thing,
that
and it would
actually,
add equal fairness to
yeah.
the entire scene. Because that's why a lot of people don't, because they don't have access to their guildmates. Like some people have to work, right? And then you don't have a full 6 man, and
That
then you
is
can.
truly a very good idea. Just made a picture in my head, like a list of people,
Hmm.
1 to 10, 1 to 20, how many people you have, and just randomly pick numbers. That would be even more interesting. Getting a group with 3 tanks, and
It
one
would have to
healer.
be within reason, like a
Yeah, of
three
course,
two
but
one or a two
it's
two two
it's a
setup,
good
or
idea. I like it.
yeah.
About the 6v6, Modern Times says Death gives a little incentive recently with the guild group quests. And Sleepy says cosmetic is not really an incentive. I don't know. What do you think about this? You think that the guild group quest is gonna like get people together and enjoy smaller parties and start getting them into RVR as well?
I think it's too early to tell. Me, for example, my guild, we're usually playing with 3, 4 people, with some people only being able to attend late nights or even week. So I don't know how much I'm gonna be doing the quest, but I think it's a really good idea that they brought out. I just wish that it offered a little more than just cosmetics. But
I haven't looked at them yet, but I read here on the chat the guild mount is an upgrade though, lower dismount chance. I don't know. That might be good actually. Oh my god, there's a block of text. I'm gonna take a while to read this. I'll ask you the next question so I can read it. Just Jonas, it's about 10 lines of text there. So now for the people who are watching, whether the Destro or not, that they play or they're thinking of playing the Squig, is there any tips you would like to give them that is gonna make them play the Squig better or choose the Squig as a class, something like that?
it's a very gear and level dependent character, I would say, more so than other classes. Um, because it does really shine when it comes into the higher levels of gameplay. I try to encourage people to go melee because I think it's easier if they're in a group, or being able to provide pressure just as a melee squig until they can get some rank to their character.
Now that you said this, just a question came up to my mind. Do you think most people that play squigs, they play the armor squig because it brings utility, AoE, and all the things you've mentioned, or because it's harder to kill and last longer in combat?
I think a lot of people play it because they like numbers.
Welcome,
It's
welcome,
kind of like
welcome.
playing engineer with AoE. For
Yeah.
example, you're most likely gonna pull off better numbers and scenarios, and it
So-
will look better for yourself
It's
than you
all
were.
about numbers.
I mean, yeah. In reality, I think it's mostly about numbers, but some. I mean, you also have access to pounds and other, primarily like order-defined abilities, right? Such as pounds and shadow limbs and all that crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't used before, and
I
you
see.
do now.
That sounds interesting. I just read the big block of text there. Basically, on the 6v6 scene, just Jono says that, you know, a lot of people like watching football, which is 11 people, but none of them want to get into it and do it. So the same thing applies for the 6v6. A lot of people like watching it, but there's something easier to do because 6v6 can be quite intensive and time consuming until you learn, you group up, you get your gear and everything. So it's a nice perspective there. And
I do agree with that for sure.
yeah,
I think
and
this
Grog
Jono
says,
onto something there.
sorry?
No, I was saying I was agreeing with Peter as well.
Yeah. No, I agree with him absolutely. And there's another. The Grog also says there's also very little feedback for the performance on 6v6, and most pre-mades are very old and very strong, and there's no space for new people to get in. So on that, I would say, and want your opinion on that, maybe there should be something in the game that would allow new players to experience it without fighting the very old pre-mades. Maybe a scenario, you know, for lower levels, maybe until they get the feeling for it, something like that.
I would say that it's gonna be really hard to keep. There's always gonna be Asians better than you, right? At people or stuff like it. I think it's
Yeah.
the same thing. Um, it's like Jonas said there. It's probably just gonna be dominated by a really strong like Sork and healer duo, for example.
Mm.
Everyone's seen CSI pull off miracles with a Sork and just a
Well,
healer, right?
yeah. We'll see. We'll see what he has to say Sunday.
Oh. But yeah, it's I think the idea is good, right? But I don't think it would work out in reality. I think the best way is to have some sort of draft pick, round robin sort of ordeal with a bunch of people, and then
Yeah.
making up like random groups in order to fight each other for people to get a sense of it.
Are you watching the stream, by the way? I'm interested in. All right, so you can read the chat.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can see here on the chat a lot of people like Magic, Groll, Grolame. I'm just mentioning the name because the people are typing. Moboru. They all seem to like orientate their thoughts around scenarios. Let's start with that, and then not the way they are now. A rating system, a ranking scenario, things like that. What do you think? Would that work to revitalize the small scale?
I would think that would give some incentive, whereas you don't really have one. Just as Jono said earlier, why should I suffer for no rewards, right? Why should I feel like I'm not doing enough, etc.,
True,
etc.
but if you have
But
a
if you had a rank,
yeah,
exactly, I'm trying to get to that as well with saying that I think that would be a good incentive for sure, and it would give people a chance to try it out, because everyone wants to be the best that they can be, right? In reality, and then I think I would at least think so. I mean, I'm trying to be the best that I can be.
yeah, me too. I mean, a ranking is good. I mean, it's the same thing as when people were saying that they would like to see in scenarios one more column of numbers, which is the mitigation. Because right now, be honest, tanks don't know how good or how bad they do when they're tanky, you know. People were requesting that. It gives a sort of gratification to people. You're doing well. You're doing your job. So, ranking scenarios, we can, you know, categorize yourself if you're good, if you're bad with numbers and scores. Would definitely be nice because people like that fame. You know, the whole scaling of things. Just taking a small break there from this conversation. There's a question for you from Lantern Smite. Path of quick shooting worth investing fully, halfway? If I want to maximize the range aspect of the herder of meatballs.
So I think that what I say to a lot of people starting off as ranged, if you wanna be dead intent on going ranged and you do not like the, I think going all the way up to the 13-point ability behind you is the way to go. Even though it's a shittier ability compared to finish them off, which you are gonna get later on in Path of the Big Shooting, but for the time being and leveling up, I think going heavy into quick shooting is the way to go.
There's another question for you from Tibdoom. Is it hard for you to play as Squig related, I suppose, to ability rotation and also in melee Squig form?
I don't really think it's hard anymore. It's more about keeping your debuffs up. Um, I do not find it being harder or easier to play ranged or melee. Both have their pros and cons.
Sorry,
It's very different.
this is the most chatty interview. Just Jono's was massive, but this type of this conversation I'm trying to keep up. So, do you think that the classes? I mean, you played live, you said, but overall, with your experience, do you think that the classes we have right now on Return of Reckoning, which have been modified, the trees have been changed, skills been removed, changed, and all that, do you feel that the changes they did on the classes made the classes better than the ones that they were on live?
I wish I could answer that. I was basically just doing PQs with my dad back when
Oh,
I was 13 playing this game, like
oh,
15 maybe. So I do not have a lot of I do not have a lot of experience from
all right,
live.
fair enough. But I do have
All
a
I have is
yeah,
all I have for information is what other people have told me, and
fair enough.
that's that.
A question, you don't have to answer this question. I'm saying this in advance. How old are you now?
I'm turning 24 this August.
Oh, you're
So I
still
started
young.
playing this when I don't know when did it come out? 2008? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So I
I
was
don't
like
remember.
14. I was 14, yeah.
I
13,
have
14.
I have such a bad memory. I don't remember honestly. It's a problem I have being a streamer. The fact that people ask me questions about what about this class, and I don't remember. Is that it's not that I don't know. I don't remember.
It's all good.
I'm almost 39. I'm gonna say my. Hey, Mobru, thank you for the follow, man.
Welcome.
So, since we're on the conversation about classes and everything, what's your opinion on the new content? New content, I mean, you know, the forts are still new content. Bastion Stairs, couple of changes that happened in the recent patch with the classes and all that. What do you think? We're doing well? We're doing bad? You like them? You don't like them?
I think there's some things that can change. There's always things that could change. I'd like to see more of the RVR aspect, because right now it's been very PvE focused. But as far as I know, it's because of the developer doing PvE is just able to do it right. It's not because they're choosing PvE or RVR. I do like the idea of forts. I wish they could be changed slightly, but it's a ever changing project, right?
Yeah,
So we can maybe
I
see
don't.
something else in the future.
Well, they're bringing out the city sieges, and what I've heard is that the mechanics not going to be the same as in Forge or what we're in live. It's going to be like patch 1.4, which I don't know what that means, to be honest. I don't know what patch 1.4 was, but they say it's going to be different. A lot of people argue that, you know, why should we PvE to get PvP gear and the other way around? Do you think they should be separated? Like, you know, there's PvE and there's PvP. Don't mix them.
I think that you should be able to do whatever you want to do. I think that one set should not be better than the other in that sense. Like doing PvE for best in slot PvP gear is not a good concept in the long run. I think we've had enough of that personally. I would
Yeah.
like to see something like do an RVR for RVR gear and scenarios for scenarios, but in essence they're pretty much the same, right? Scenario and PvP gear. It just caters to different specs.
Yeah, there's a.
Um,
Sorry, go
but
on.
I do not like I'm not a huge fan of the whole doing PvE for best in slot gear. I think it should be on par with like RVR gear.
Well, there's some opinions here, such as like Moboru says, unique armor design is driving force for me to go into dungeons, for him personally. Grog about the fort says they should move away from gate funneling, so the people are requesting some changes there. And there's another question for you from Tibden, which says, if you had the power to change something about the class you're playing, what would that change be and why?
I would try to get some more. I generally play my class. I like to whine about my DPS, but in essence, the Squig Herder DPS is not bad. I would just like to see some sort of change to their overall damage, and I would gladly take away mobility for that.
All right,
Because
so
I do play solo and with healers a lot, and being able to kill a tank is really hard, even with best in slot gear and for now rank 100, whatever.
yeah, do you think now that you mentioned 100, because I'm really thirsty for more renown points for my build, do you think at some point we're gonna get the 100 back?
I think we might have. I think, what do you mean? Do you think anyone's gonna reach 100, or do you know if
No,
we're gonna get the
no,
or the
I
gear?
don't know, I don't know. But on live, the renown was the cap was 100 points. Now it's 80. I'm just saying, do you
Oh
think we're
yeah,
gonna get it back? I mean, I would love to. I need more points to complete my build.
I think you only had points to 80, and then you had hidden levels uh, that didn't account for anything but stats. You didn't get any points, but I could be wrong. I actually have no idea if it's gonna come back or not.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a question for you from Incodrone, which says, does a DPS doc work well in a group for group fights? And do you think the Return of Reckoning community has become increasingly a more relaxed casual? And if so, why?
Does DPS doc work well in group fights? Yes, I would say so. Um, I think they can work excellent if you bring the setup. That they're a very I would say a pretty demanding class in terms of group setup. But they can also be very good in a small map. So I definitely think that DPS doc is viable and pretty good. As for the real or community being more relaxed casual, if so, why? I think it's just people logging in for forts and all that. Just there's nothing really to strive for apart from big fights. So I do agree that it's become more casual. Maybe adding that letter system that we talked about earlier would change stuff like that. But at the time, yes, I do agree. And why I can't really tell you. I think it's about the gear and how easy it is to obtain now compared to maybe a year ago.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people are chasing gear like mad. I don't know why.
You only
I
have to log in and run a zone, right, in order to get a guaranteed bag or a roll,
yeah.
which in essence makes it way easier to get gear than before.
I think that's gonna change soon. Anyways, question: which is the harder class to beat and why?
That's a good question actually. I've had a lot of issues with White Lions earlier, previously when they were Guardian, when the Guardian design was really strong. Otherwise, like a really well played Warrior Priest
Improbable.
could be pretty hard, yeah, to beat, I think.
Yeah.
If you're in melee form,
How
as
about
ranged it's way easier.
how about an Archmage? Do you have issues with them?
As ranged, yes. As melee, I've beaten most of them, I think. It's about being able to provide burst. That's what Archmages can't really do much against. As range, you don't really have the burst, so they just single you out over the course of 20 seconds and you'll die to dots inevitably. Because you can't do enough damage to kill him before that.
Yeah, I have a serious problem with Chamis. Then again, I'm not a DPS, so maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an issue. They're just able to outstand you.
See, that's the thing though. If I fight them like really close, when I mean close, I mean this, there, right? I will kill them. When they start running around, you know, they get like to 40, 50 feet, or they start hiding behind walls and stuff. That's when the problem starts. That's, I don't know. I mean, I can kill them if it's close, but if they start running, because I can do all my skills running. You know, that's the difference.
Yeah.
And it really pisses me off. It's really hard to kill them like that. We have another question. Can you play as Staba and bash long gears and hammies just with a stick?
I wish I could
you can
bash
raise
long ears and humies with a stick, but that's unfortunately not possible. the damage scaling on the regular abilities is really, really, really bad. Because it's counting towards strength, and you don't have any strength in the normal form.
Yeah, I'm glad you
So
understood the
it's
question because I really didn't understand anything about that question.
yeah, it's no worries. But no, you can that is not viable at all, unfortunately.
At least Moburu, you got your answer because I didn't understand the question. I'm sure it's a very squiggy specific one. So
That's also something I would like to be changed, like the old melee abilities for Squig, to give them some sort of use, like the dot and
So, if I
other
understand, hold on a
abilities.
second. These are some skills of melee squiggy, which you cannot use as a armor squig.
Exactly.
All
Yes.
right.
You
Okay.
have to be in a regular form, human form, or goblin's form, right? And then you can only use them.
I don't know why, but today you're getting all the what would you change in this game questions.
Uh,
uh,
I
yeah,
guess
it's like,
so.
if you can change something about this game, because the previous one was about your class, what would you change and why?
I would probably change the RVR system right now. Give a lot of like try to cut the people away from big circs because it's clearly not stable for the server, and I believe it's more fun in order to have some sort of incentive to run groups.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would change about the game because I'm not very big into the warband.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I said this before in this interview that I find it strange how many people say this. We don't want a lot of blobbing, a lot of warbands is boring, is laggy, is a lot of things. And yet, when you go into a lake, all you see is blobbing and warbands and lag and things like that. I just find it interesting how that thing can happen. All right, I'm gonna move on with my question a little bit until the stream
Sure.
gets back onto questions. Because mine, the idea of the interviews, Tootlez, is to introduce you as a streamer to the audience and the audience to you. That was the theme for this year. Although it has developed a little bit to asking questions about the content, the gear, the classes. It's the interviews took a life on their own on the questions, so to speak. So, are you a new streamer, or were you streaming in the past and now that you're doing RVR? Sorry,
I've been
return.
streaming very, very casually for the better part of like 2 years.
Wow.
But it's been back and forth. Like lately, my or earlier, my computer couldn't handle it too much, so I stopped streaming for like a year, and then I only did it for friends and guildies, basically. Now, like last month or two, I've been trying to get back into it, try to interact with the Roar
Uh,
community.
Good, good. We need more streamers who are stable because I think like 1/3 of the people I've interviewed they no longer play the game, or at least they stopped streaming. I don't know. Maybe they got bored or whatever. So, do you stream other games now or in the past, or are you just focusing right now on Return of Reckoning?
Can you repeat?
Yeah, I mean you're streaming, right? So, are you streaming just Return of Reckoning, or are you streaming other games, depending on your mood
For
or?
at the moment, I'm just streaming Return of Reckoning. Yes, I don't really play much else because lately I've been working a lot, so I just get on when I can late nights and stream a bit, and then go back to bed and repeat.
Okay,
So
that's
it's
cool.
it's only been Return of Reckoning for now.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime if I build enough of a player base and people want to see different stuff, like sure.
So you don't have a normal timetable, do you? Is it whenever you feel like
No,
it, or
it's very flexible because my work is very flexible. I don't
okay?
have set hours.
And
Yeah, so I try to log in when I can and when the group allows me to, and other things. So
true, yeah, I had that problem. So do you stream a specific, like if you're going to stream, like let's say you turn your computer on today, you say, you know what, I'm going to stream. Do you stream as long as you feel like, or do you have a standard like I do usually, like a 5 hour stream? I don't do less, or is it
I
whatever
just
happens?
I just stream when I feel like I want to stream, and then I'll try to keep it up for a while. And if I get good viewers, so to say, like every viewer is a good viewer, obviously, but like a very active viewer, I'll try to stick around a long time and or longer, I guess, and interact. And
Do you stream in any other platform like YouTube, Mixer, or anything else, or is just Twitch?
I just stream on Twitch.
Okay. There's a question for you from the stream regarding this category of questions, which says, when will you get a decent video camera?
Oh, when I can afford one. Beards, when I can afford one.
Okay. There's another question. I don't know. I don't really know if it's a question. If you can read it from Gandalf.
Alright, hang on.
Because I don't know if that's actually a question that you might understand. But in the meantime, while you're reading this, I'll ask you this: do you have any other media that people that might be interesting in your streams could be able to follow you, like YouTube, tweet, or anything else like that? Facebook, I don't know.
Oh, I just have my Twitch site at www.twitch.tv.com/Tootlez1.
Well,
That's
that's
pretty much it. To answer your question, Gandalf, yes, that was a good hiding. You gave him a good hiding, for sure. I agree.
Next
You got a
question.
new outfit and some fat loot, so
Sorry, I'm trying to read the question. The question for Tula is: since I never played Destro ever, both in Age of Reckoning and Return of Reckoning, why the Squig Herder have that many abilities in the military?
that's an excellent question. I do not know if I can answer that. I think it caters to like a live area where people wanted to play more of a role play, like Night Goblin stabity kind of guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have some abilities that you can only access in melee form, and then some you can only access as a um, armored squig. But if anyone else has a better question, feel free, or a better answer, feel free to answer,
Yeah, we'll see.
because I do not know.
I do like the question though. The next question from Magic Highs there that says, "Do you think removing armor pods from the game would be a good thing?"
I mean, that would make me even more squishy than I already am, so
Me
I
too,
would not
but
like it. But
I don't think it would.
I don't think necessarily that it's a bad thing for the game to have. I think everyone can have access to armor pods if they want, and stuff like apothecary and even cultivating and stuff has been a major part in any kind of MMO game to have access to potions and all that sort of thing. So I don't know. I don't think it would be a great change.
Yeah. Well, I don't want them removed. It will fuck up my build. I don't want it removed. So it just Jonas says, question for you: if you could change or add 3 things to Return of Breaking to make it better with inverted commas, what would you pick?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
Well, it's a question from it's just Jonas, so
It's a I would try to get some better sort of RVR system input, better PvP, which kind of caters to the RVR aspect of it all. I think that I would like to make PvE dungeons less demanding and more for personal, gains. Like if they want to do some PvE, they should have access to it, right? But it shouldn't be demanded to have the absolute best stuff. And then I would probably, as the third answer,
so
I do not know at the moment. I'll
that's
think
right.
about it.
So do you stream just one character, or do you play multiple characters? Because there's some people that just stream one.
Sure. No, I mean I mostly play my squig, and that's just because I usually log it on first, and then I'll get groups. But I'm not against streaming other characters.
Okay. Grog asks, how much armor do you usually have with your tactics/pet bonus? Okay.
I could tell you right now. Well, with a tactic and a no potion, I have 2,600.
Really? Just that?
Yes.
So hold on a second, because that's interesting for me, because I don't have a squeak, but if you only have 2,000 something armor that you just said, even if you take a big portion, that will get you around 3,000, right? So
Yeah, 3.4
yeah,
or whatever, right? Yeah.
so yeah, that's medium armor level. You squiggies in general, when you armor, you're really hard to kill. I mean, I fight a lot of squiggies, but I
It
always
really
thought you
depends on
have.
the build. Like I'm not much of going like defensive squig. You have a
All
lot
right,
of specs,
okay.
which I like about the versatility of it all.
Okay.
I think I reached a top of like 5,400, I think, with a full armor build.
Five.
And
Ooh, that's a lot.
yeah,
It's a lot higher than I can
I
get.
reached over 5k.
That's a lot higher
But
than
that's
they
with
can
the
get.
that's just the way it works with both Shadow Warrior and Melee Squig in farm. Because the armor towers give double value because they count as stats, right? And all
Oh, I
bonuses from
see.
stats
I see.
are doubled.
So Grok, yes, armor build means a lot of armor tallies, apparently.
Exactly. Yes.
So just to, I mean, this conversation will carry on. I'm just waiting for people to type more questions as if they have any. So I'll finish the 3 questions that I have in my list. So, do you stream PvP and PvE on your stream, or you don't do PvE?
I try to stream both. I mean, I've done a lot of or PvE lately, as many people probably have seen me do.
You're doing Bastion?
Probably have a weekly I have a weekly PvE stream pretty much.
Yeah, I need to do Bastion as well, man. So
Yeah. I
when I
mean, I've
get
done
that set.
Bastion like 6 times now, and I got both weapons and the
Seriously,
entire set.
I don't even know where it is. I'm that bad.
Bastion streams.
Yeah, I don't even know where it is, like physically in the game, which map, which area. I have
Oh, yeah.
no idea.
It's Chaos Wastes.
Oh, thanks. Now I know. So just to finish the questions that I have, do you have any upcoming events or anything you would like to announce for your stream?
In the near future, I'm gonna try to get a 24-man Gobble warband, because I've had a lot of fun doing that lately with my own guild, and
You can
so
sign me up for that.
maybe I'll try to do that someday.
I'll bring my chamois. Screw that one. All right, and last question for me, and then I'll start reading the chat again. We have a lot of people who play the game. There's a lot of people that like to get into the streaming scene of Return of Reckoning. As an older streamer, you're a much older streamer than I am as well. Do you have any tips that you would like to give to those people that would like to get into the scene right now?
Well, I'm a terrible streamer. Until lately, I wasn't even using webcam. I don't have any additions to my stream. It's basically just gameplay. Um, I don't know. Try to be vocal, like explaining everything. I think that's one of the things why Sarbix is such a great streamer, right? He's very vocal in what he's doing and
Yeah,
paying attention.
For me, Zarbix, I mean, not for me, statistically speaking, and you can see on his stream, he's the top streamer we have. Because if you're not a good streamer, you don't attract the people. I mean, that's
Exactly.
how it goes. But I think, because I watch a lot of streams trying to improve myself stream-wise to see what they do. I see people, and I'm saying names that people would recognize, like, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, Asmogold, that does WoW, with like 25,000 viewers. He has 25,000 viewers, but his whole stream, like, there's no good UI, there's no interface, the alerts are the basic ones from Streamlabs and all that.
It mainly has to do with personality. Like, if you have a different personality than other players, you would attract more people, I think.
That's what I'm saying, that the whole, I mean, I went, spent a lot of time to do this interface, and I mainly did it when I started because I like it. I like watching it myself. So, yeah, I mean, he's the top at the moment. And I was saying in the stream, there was a conversation we started, and I did say at some point that you can be a great streamer and a bad player, or you can be a bad player and be, you know what I mean? The two doesn't mean if you're a good player, you're a good streamer as well.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's what you said, it's the personality. Streaming is more than playing the game. So if either you have it or you don't have it. And that shows on the numbers, I think. And apparently, Zarbix does have it. I'm happy for him. All right, let's get back on the questions because they start piling up, and I don't think I'm going to be able to. I don't want to miss anything and leave someone out. Fusion Life, what is your view on Blood of the Black Carry? Do you think it needs more flags?
I think having more flags would offer more PvP, yes. No, that was a joke, obviously, but no, I don't think it needs more flags. I think that
that one is the one that has 5, right?
It probably needs to get removed or fixed at least, because it's not working properly, and it hasn't been for the longest time.
Well, now that we got on the flags thing, it just reminded me. You know they added one more in Rakeland, the scenario, right?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
Right?
Yeah, Rakeland factory. They added one more flag. It's at the beginning, so it's not just the 2 on the top and the 1 in the middle. There's one more. Have you played it? Let's start with that. Have you played it lately?
I have played it, yeah.
So there's a big debate on the forums whether they, it's preventing people from PvPing. People say there's two opinions to make it more clear. One says the extra flag makes people move around, so there's not a lot of fighting. And some other people say, the fourth flag is good because it gives more tactics and more things to move and rotate and dominate the scenario with. What do you think? More flags better for PvP or not?
For in a PvP
For
aspect,
fightings.
it's not better, not by a long shot. It doesn't offer more tactics. It just offers more ways of people to run around and get rewarded for doing as minimal as possible. In a pug aspect, I mean, it's probably good because it allows you to do as little as you humanly can in terms of PvP and just try to get as much points as possible.
But if you have, okay, we have 3 flags, okay, in that scenario.
Mhm.
Now we have 4 flags. So if let's say we've made a scenario that has 1 flag, okay, we're not talking about the one pre-mates go into, but the pack. Isn't that gonna end up being like playing in an open lake? You just go in the middle and hit each other like sitting inside of a war camp, back and forth. Isn't it better to have 2 or 3 flags so people can spread out, create smaller fights, more tactics and things like that? What do you think?
I haven't seen anyone use the fourth flag as a tactical choice.
Okay,
I've just seen it being
I'm,
used
I'm
as
the only one.
an easier, yeah. I've just seen it being used to run away and try to like end scenarios quicker than before, right?
All right. Gonna try and skip through all not skip, go through the questions there. How are you dealing with flamers regarding the way you play your class? I know that Squig Herders are very hated between order.
Let's see if I can.
It's a bit further up because the chat keep. It's in red. In mine is in red because say to me it's from Tibdim.
How are you dealing with flamers regarding the way I play the class? I know the Squig Herders were hated before. Or I don't know, man. I don't necessarily get a lot of flame on how I play the class. I have no idea what the order population thinks about them as well, because I haven't played it much for the last year or so.
Zupa asks Zupa12332, what's your favorite PQ quest and why?
I think it would be Ruinous Powers, the Chapter 1 Chaos one.
Sorry, I'm just trying to go through the chat. It's insane how many things people are typing. I'm looking for the questions. I do apologize for the pause. I don't see any other questions coming up. So I don't know. You guys have any other questions? This is the time to type it because mine are done like 10 minutes ago. So
It's all good.
yeah. People are carrying on with their own conversations, which is cool. So at this point, Tootlez, I'm going to thank you very much for the time you devoted to this interview and being part of it.
All good, man. My pleasure.
I really, really enjoyed it. Oh, what's the question? Does Tootlez believe in pag after pag? I can feel something inside me saying, I really don't think you're going to pag enough, no?
I don't know how to answer that question.
I don't know either. I don't understand the question.
What do you mean?
But until he types what he really means, Grog says, I don't want Tootless, so maybe it's a stupid question, but does he play solo?
I do play solo, yes. You can usually see me around. If I'm not solo, I'm probably duo or trio. I've
never seen you solo. You know what? I'm gonna confess. I'm looking for you solo to have a fight in the lakes for a long time, and I just can't find you solo. No.
Alright. Well, I mean, I usually solo during NA time, and you go to bed then. So
yeah. No, I mean,
because I find it a bit too hard to solo during EU Prime when there's 79 versus 79 players fighting.
That is totally true. It's hard, but we only have 1 hour difference, so we're pretty much in the same time zone. Huh? Oh, questions just jumped to think. What's your favorite 6v6 group to fight?
I think back in the days, I'm talking way back, I used to play a lot with Fusion. I think the most fun I've ever had fighting someone was Enigma, back in Tier 3, if anyone remembers them.
I personally don't.
Otherwise, LOB usually is a very good fight if it's on an even item skill, and they always put up a great fight no matter what setup they run.
Taz, thank you very much for the raid. The alert didn't go off. I don't know why. And another question: how does he? How do you feel about melee Squig Herder versus solo Slayer 1v1?
I think it really depends on the build of the Slayer. I've had pretty high success versus Slayers overall as a melee Squig, usually
You
because of
definitely can kill mine.
Mobility and burst counters riposte build. But also, like, I haven't fought Tosh, for example, a very high rank.
If
I
you're
don't
gonna
think I've
fight a
fought him
Slayer
yet, but
beside Tosh, I would definitely recommend Zaebis. I've met him recently. I've seen what he can do in PvP. If you're looking for a good 1v1 challenge from a Slayer, these two, to shut the kid up, and Zaebis, I think, would be your best choice at the moment. These are the ones I know. I'm not saying there aren't any other good Slayers in the game, alright? Because people get really picky and sensitive about topics like that. These are the ones I know. There's so many people playing the game. Right.
I just don't like the certain way some classes play their solo classes. Like, it's just depending on what you play yourself and what you're fighting, really. Which has
Yeah.
it's hard to be a solo class that excels at kill and everything.
Right. I'm gonna ask the last question from Sweetums. I don't know if you know Sweetums. Sweetums is also a streamer. And she's one of the few, I'm just saying this because she's one of the few female streamers we have. So the question is, what is your favorite PvE dungeon?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know yet. I would say, I mean, gun bad is always gonna be fun bad, right?
Which one?
Gun bad, fun bad.
Gambit.
But I'm very interested in trying out Seychellum, so if anyone wants to run me through Seychellum on Destro, they're more than welcome to. I need my dice. I've
Right.
never done it before.
Oh man, this is never gonna end. I'm gonna continue. Can you read the question? Right. Do you have time just to continue with a few more questions?
Oh yeah, I have
All right,
wait.
all right.
I'm off work
So-
tomorrow, so it's
Yeah, I'm working late, but okay. Mrs. Fixer going to kill me, but that's okay. So, what do you think about Chinese Hero? This is why I'm laughing.
I think Chinese Hero has probably the biggest set of balls on the server, with the tiniest brain in some scenarios. But he's always fun to watch. If I was being honest, like, I don't know what goes through that man's head.
Oh man, they're
He's
putting
always
some
fun to
tough
watch.
questions for you.
He's probably a great guy. Like,
No, I mean, my opinions about Chinese Hero are quite clear. I keep saying that I love the guy because he plays the tank, he pushes the front line, that's what tanks should do. And, you know, that's what tanks do. I just think he should, like, take one step back every now and then. That's the only argument I have. So, oh my god, what questions are these? Right, who is the best player in the game? Chinese Hero, Roomba, or Grobok?
that's a great question. I think Roomba is probably one of the better ones, I would say.
Roomba. Okay.
Love myself some Roomba.
Intersmite, I might have missed your questions. Could you please type it again? I do apologize if I missed your question. Grog, what's this? Oh yeah, Grog said he felt really useless with his Slayer when he fought you the other day.
I was just running a very PvE heavy or solo heavy build, so any sort of melee is gonna have a hard time killing me, I think.
Who? Grog.
When I run solo, yeah.
Ah, yeah, you go more tanky when you run solo. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes absolutely good sense. Right, guys, that's it. No more questions, please, because it's midnight and it's time for me to end the stream and go before you see Mrs. Fixer in the Slayer mode, full in rage, coming in with 200s. Deton doesn't work. So, Tootlez, are you up for a duel between me and you?
We could try it out. I guess you would beat me. I have a really hard time against defensive characters.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, if you want, I'm never forcing anybody to do it. So
It's gonna be good content if you kill me, right? So let's.
let me. I'm going full. Like I'm going to drink my armor potions, my ballistics, and everything.
Alright.
So do that. There's no rules. Again, no punting me off the.
I will not punt. Don't
Okay,
worry.
that's the only rule. Drink all your potions, whatever you want. Healing potions over time. Anything you feel you need in the fight. You need to turn your
Gotcha.
PvP on. And my turret is
Is it on?
down. Yeah, it is. I'm ready whenever you are, because usually you squeeze jump. So I'm ready whenever you're ready.
Alright, let's go then.
Oh, there's the knockdown. Oh, that AoE just destroyed my turret. I hate you. Come on. Oh, he's back on full life. Oh my god, how much AoE is this? Oh, I'm gonna die, guys. I'm gonna die. Oh, he punted. He punted my punt. He dodged. No! Ah! No! 13%. Well done. Well done.
Well done.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. You still have 10 seconds of dodge. Oh, you're healing up.
I used another pot, yeah. I used one.
Nice one, man. Nice. Oh, there's a... Oh, I didn't see you there, dude. Thanks. Oh, man. 13%. There you go, guys. I'm not invisible. I lost live interview recorded. Incoming Squig Herder enough. You know, this fight, you know, I'm gonna watch it again because I think that the difference that we had right because it was very close. 13% is a close fight. I think you used your potions a lot better than I did, and that made a big
Maybe,
difference there. Because at the end you still had one more potion, and I didn't. I used all of them. But it was an enjoyable fight. I like duels. I love duels. Thank you
thank you.
very much for dueling me. Appreciate
worries.
it. And that's no, you know what? A lot of people say, you know, I'm not gonna fight you. You have a keg and all that. So
It's a really hard fight to beat, especially when you're planted on top of the
yeah,
turret with the
yeah.
napalm. It's a lot of AoE damage and single or damage over time.
Yeah, it's the way it works. You know, if you're gonna be tanky, tankies don't have a lot of mobility. That's the trade-off, really. Salmank flame turret for avoidance. No, because it only gives dodge and disrupt, so I wouldn't be able to parry his attacks. It wouldn't make a difference. And the bombardment turret does more damage than the flame turret does overall, so it wasn't a good option. If it was a magus, if it was a spellcaster in general.